This video will be going over the surface area and the volume of cylinders, okay? So we have our example right here. It says the diameter is 14 centimeters and then it's 18 centimeters for the height, okay? So we're gonna need two things to go ahead and plug into lateral area and surface area for a cylinder. We need the radius and we need the height, okay? Now the radius, this gives us the diameter, so let's just cut that in half. My radius is gonna be 7. And then my height is just how tall is this, how far between the top and the bottom, or the two circles, okay? So my height is 18. All right, the formula for lateral area of a cylinder is this. This is coming just from the formula chart. It is 2 pi r h. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's plug that in. All right, so we have 2 times pi times 7 times 18. Okay, now let's say they asked you for it in terms of pi. Okay, I'm going to ignore the pi, plug everything else in. So 2 times 7 times 18 is going to give me 252 pi. Okay, now let's say it asked for it rounded to the nearest hundredth. We would plug everything into the calculator, and that's going to give me about 791.68. Okay, so it might ask you if you're either way, terms of pi or rounded to the nearest hundredth, and it is up to you to either not plug pi in and stick it on at the end, or just plug the whole thing into the calculator, okay? All right, and then the formula for total surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. I know that this seems like it's a long formula, but all you need to know really is two things and then plug it into the calculator, okay? So 2 pi RH is 2 pi times 7 times 18 plus 2 pi times 7 squared, okay? Again, if you are needing to give your answer in terms of pi, okay, ignore the pi, plug everything else in, and I'm actually gonna show you guys how I would do that for this one, okay? So we would have 2, ignore the pi, times 7 times 18 plus 2, ignore the pi, times 7 squared. Okay, and that's going to give me 350. So my answer would be 350 pi. All right, and then if I needed to give that in terms of, or rounded to the nearest hundredth, I can just take my answer and multiply by pi, and I'm going to get that it is approximately equal to 1099.56, since it's 557, so 0.56. And I did forget my units, so this would be centimeters squared for both of these, since it is surface area. All right, and then for volume, the formula for volume of a cylinder is actually the same as it is for a prism, okay? So your formula chart is going to tell you that the formula for volume of a cylinder is capital B times H, all right? Now, quick note over here. Capital B, remember, is the area of the base. It's not the radius, it's the area of the base. The base is a circle. So how do we find the area of a circle when the radius in this case is 7? Okay, area of a circle, we got to go back to our formula chart again. Area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, so let's figure out what that is. Pi times 7 squared, and I'm just going to go ahead and do this rounded to the nearest hundredth to begin with, okay? So pi times 7 squared, or actually we can do both, okay? 7 squared in terms of pi would be 49 pi, which is approximately equal to 153.94. Okay, so either way, in terms of pi, rounded to the nearest hundredth, doesn't matter. Both of those would be right, just depends on what your question is asking for. Okay, so it's either 49 pi or 153.94. And the height of my prism is, the height of my cylinder is not changing. It's still going to be 18. All right, so let's say I was giving this answer in terms of pi. Capital B times H would be 49 pi times 18. All right, remember you would not plug in the pi, so all I would plug into my calculator is 49 times 18, and that's going to give me 882 pi, which would be approximately equal to, if I rounded that to the nearest hundredth, 2,770.88 centimeters cubed, since this is volume. All right, 2 examples of cylinders. The first one, we have a cylinder with a radius of 8 and a height of 3. And this one says to leave our answers in terms of pi. Okay, so lateral area of a cylinder is 2 pi RH. So let's go ahead and let's plug in to that. So we would have 2 pi times 8 times 3. Again, when we plug it into our calculator, 2 times, not pi, 8 and 3. So this would give me 48 pi. Our units are inches squared. All right, total surface area is 2 times pi RH plus 2 pi r squared. Let's plug everything in. So we'd have 2 pi times 8 times 3 plus 2 pi times 8 squared. Okay, again, I'm going to show you guys how I do this in the calculator. You don't need to put the pi in at all. So 2 times 8 times 3 plus 2 times, ignore the pi, 8 squared. And that's going to give me 176. Add the pi in at the end, inches squared. All right, and then lastly, volume is capital B times H. All right, we need to go and we need to find the capital B, okay? So area of a circle is pi r squared. So let's plug in our numbers. Pi times 8 is the radius squared, all right, which would give me 64 pi, okay? So now we can go ahead and we can plug that in. Capital B is 64 pi times the height is 3. If I wanted it in terms of pi, ignore the pi, so I would just have 64 times 3, 192 pi inches cubed. Okay, and then finally our last example, we have a cylinder with a diameter of 18, which means that my radius is 9 and my height is 16. Okay, now I know that I'm going to need the area of the base when I get down to the volume, so let's just go ahead and find that now. All right, remember, area of a circle is pi r squared, which if I do pi times 9 squared, that's going to give me about, should be approximately 254.47. All right, so lateral area, here we go. Lateral area is going to be 2 pi RH, so 2 pi times 9 times 16. Plug that whole thing into the calculator. 2 pi times 9 times 16. 904.78 approximately. Centimeters squared. All right, surface area 2 pi r h plus 2 pi r squared. I know that that seems like a lot, but once you plug everything in, all you've got to do, is plug it into your calculator. So 2 pi times 9 times 16 plus 2 pi times 9 squared is going to give me approximately 1,413.72 centimeters squared. All right, and lastly, volume is capital B times H. So capital B we already solved for was 254.47 times the height is 16. See what this gives us, 254.47 times 16, about 4071.52 centimeters cubed. And that is volume and surface area of cylinders.